Here we are at the bottom of 7910 Porcupine Lane. I apologize for shaky camera motions. I'm gonna have to walk to show you all this. It's a rather large property. So you'll notice this little bridge that leads to a trail through the woods, which runs by this beautiful landscaped pond. This is one of the lower ponds on the property. I'm moving up the trail now towards the main home. As you can see, there's a series of bridges that cross these creeks. The creek right now has been let to be overgrown just a bit, but he says it's really easy for a landscaping company to come in and clean some of this out. He normally does it himself, but the current owners have already purchased a 250-acre ranch, and that's where they live now. This creek runs all the way up the property and through several ponds. As you can see, freshly mowed yard, golf course-like features. Here you have the main pond, the dock, up the hill there is the first pond in the series. At this end of the pond is where the second creek enters. It's also a little overgrown, but it also comes from the second pond, and it goes from here and wraps around through there to that pond up there. This pond also doubles as the main ice skating rink in wintertime, where all the kids come. That's the neighbor's property on the other side of the ponds. And as I pan back, there's the garage and the main home of this property, which overlooks this little pond like a private lake. Here's another one of the many bridges that cross back and forth across the creeks. That's where the creek runs up through that space. Up there in the distance, you can see the high point of the property behind the tree line. And as we come up the hill, we find the first pond in the series on the main property. Off to the side, we have a fire pit and seating area that has its own lovely view of the valley and those ponds. You can see the scope of the property is rather large. Behind that fenced area is a really large, well-designed outdoor garden protected from the poor deer by this really excellent, well-built fence. Many raised garden beds, all fed by the water from these ponds. And at that point you will see the main irrigation pump that pulls the water from the pond and waters the entire property. Now we can see the garage space and the main home. As you can see, it's very well secluded, and at no point in any of these shots can you see the power lines that cross the back 4 acres. I've now crossed up the hill just a little ways so that we can see how this property is arranged with the cascading lake pattern, creeks cross-feeding each one of the ponds, in a series of 5 ponds from the top of the road all the way to the bottom of the property. They're all fed by a natural stream and used to irrigate the property and for entertainment. From here we can see the garden area more closely and how it relates to the location of the ponds. You can also see the great design of the raised flower bed garden area. Large landscape lawn spaces, additional storage sheds, trees that surround the property in all directions, huge garage. And then that gorgeous home. This is now the main driveway as we approach the house. You can see the quality craftsmanship even from a distance. But let's take a moment to examine this garage space. You'll notice there is a tremendous amount of parking space. You can fit 2 vehicles, almost 3 vehicles in the main bay. There is a side bay that's set up to be used as a workshop and or storage. And then there's the third bay, which is essentially the same as the first bay. It is all insulated and painted. In addition to that, there is a living space up here, which we will go review in just a moment. The main garage was designed specifically for snow fun in mind, so that when you zip in here with your snowmobiles or your 4-wheel drives, you're able to pop around the corner and change out of your wet clothes, clean yourself off, store your wet clothes, warm yourself up. They actually had a coffee station out here. I'm going to take you inside that first bay momentarily. As you can see, fully drywall insulated. And in a moment we'll be upstairs. We now find ourselves at the top of the stairs at the room behind the garage. As you can see, there's this gorgeous little creek that runs all the way along the baseline of the property. And this is the creek that leads to the top pond that's in the distance up at the top of the property that starts the creek process through which all these lakes are fed. So as I mentioned, this is the back of the garage. There is a set of stairs that comes to a nice studio apartment. We have lots of space. The room is actually quite large. Vaulted ceilings. A fully functioning kitchenette. Nice countertops, nice tile. Northwest style touches throughout with the woodwork and leaf patterns. Full restroom. Sink. Again, more really great tile work. And a full, rather large freestanding shower. And then outside of this rear door to the apartment is that balcony that we could see in the previous shot of the garage, which includes a large storage area over one of the side rooms.